You ready? We in? We on?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 10 of Mike Paper Scissors. We are in the building. Hey, we got Crip to my right of me, or is it the left of me? I don't know. This gets transposed. We got, are you Kansas City today?
I think I'm Kansas City Red.
City. We got Kansas City Red to the left of me. This is LJ. Welcome to episode 10 of Mike Paper Scissors. We have a lot to talk about today. Who's going to irk my soul first?
And as you can see, we're in a different location.
Yeah.
It's a secret location.
None ya
The back
business.
cave.
Something like that. Anyway.
Or
What do
as
we-
you can hear.
As you
They
can
ain't
hear.
all watching, right?
They ain't watching. Oh, yeah, as you can hear.
Apple. Shout out to
They
Apple.
wouldn't be able to
on
hear. They wouldn't be able to hear.
podcast.
That's interesting because
Yeah.
people who are just listening would not know we're in a different location.
Yeah.
People who only listen have never watched. We are available on Facebook, on our Facebook page, if you ever wanted to see what was going down.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
Yeah.
We started with episode 9, so from 9 on
From
is
9
on.
on, we'll be
Yeah.
on YouTube.
YouTube.
So if you're ever curious about what it looks like,
And if you're watching but you want to listen,
Uh-huh.
you can go to Apple.
you go to Apple.
Yeah.
You go to Google.
You can go to
you go
Spotify.
Spotify. You go to Anchor.
Yeah.
Where else?
Breaker, Pocket
Breaker,
Cast,
Pocket
Stitcher.
Cast, Stitcher.
Stitcher.
Anywhere you see podcasts, we on there.
Yeah.
Mike, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
So we want to deliver some things today. So up first, we had some educator shenanigans. This is starting to become standard. So now I don't know if this is a recent trend of teachers attempting to teach slavery or if this has always been going on and they've always been raggedy and it's
I
just
think
now.
we're just finding out.
We're just
about
finding
it now.
out, like social media allows us to
Yeah.
get to know. So, Crip, do you want to get into what the most recent educator
The one
nonsense happened?
the one I saw was that this prominent private school in New York where the teacher what did she do? She took the kids and she reenacted slavery.
An auction.
An auction.
Yeah, an
An auction. You know, where the white kids bid on the black kids. I'm gonna pause for a second.
It's not funny.
I'm gonna pause.
It's just funny
white
because it's
kid
stupid.
Bid on, and as an educator, I struggle with the fact that she didn't see anything wrong with this,
Yeah.
or because the title was "American Schools Struggle to Teach Kids About Slavery."
Right.
So she felt this was the best way to teach them.
2019.
Right. Like, what's the problem? Like, I went to school in 19... Like, they taught me about it just fine, and we ain't do no auction reenactments or all of that. Like,
Just rent 12 Years a Slave and have the kids watch it and be horrified.
no.
I don't think oh, I know you're anti-slave movie, but
So what is
Nah. It might be okay for educational
it'd be better
purposes.
than white kids bidding on my black child in a
Absolutely.
school.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just want black parents in there going off, I guess.
Yeah.
Go, what is your theory? What is the theory here? What is the greater problem?
I feel that first off, slavery. The easy way to teach it is slavery didn't start with. Our history didn't start with slavery.
Right.
That would
Yeah,
be the
right. That's
first
the
way to
first
kind of
thing,
start it
right.
off, and then you can go into it by teaching, I guess, our history back in Africa, then leading over here, but not just the. I'm struggling with this one. I really am.
Yeah.
I really am because.
Because there's so many things wrong.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
really
yeah,
know where to
right.
start.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many things wrong. So I think there's a lot of ways to teach black history. But I think when we teach black history, I think we should teach slavery as a part of white history because this is an
Or
American
American history.
Right.
Right.
Because slavery had as much as it had a devastating impact on black people, it had a positive economic impact on white
Right.
people.
Right.
And I think it's hard to tell the story without telling the whole story. And when you talk about, if you're going to talk about it, talk about it. If you're going to teach it, teach it. Apparently, these teachers lack the skills and the what's missing.
Like, I don't get it. What's so hard? Like, I learned about all kinds of history that my teacher, you know what I mean? Like, you have them read the paragraph. That, you know what I mean? They ask the questions. Like, I don't
It's-
see what the
It's so irresponsible. Like to actually have students bidding on each other
that's nuts.
in a classroom, and especially and having the audacity
I'm
to have them
struggling
bidding
with
on
it.
the black students, right? It's
Yeah.
hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. There's
It
so many
really
things
is.
wrong.
Like in world history, right? The Spartans ran wild and killed everybody, right? Should you have one group of kids be the Spartans and whoop everybody else's ass in the
Apparently.
classroom?
Right,
I don't
right.
get that. Like I don't get why you become
Like-
so creative
Like
with
you
black
take the
history,
Holocaust,
like-
for example. Like,
right,
do you
exactly.
take a bunch of Jews and Jewish
Right.
kids and
And it's like,
Right.
raise your hand if you're Jewish. If
Right.
you identify. Yes, we're gonna have you
Right.
stand in this closet.
Yeah.
We're gonna pretend it's a gas
Right.
chamber.
Yeah, right.
And then we'll respond to that. It's horrible.
and then have one
And
kid
they would
play
never.
Hitler?
But they would never.
Right.
They would never do that. They would never do that. And so the problem is clearly, and this isn't the first story. We've had kids go cotton picking in the
Right.
last few months. We've had kids. What else happened? Something else happened.
the one in was it North Carolina where the teacher was doing monopoly slavery,
Yeah.
where she actually I think she took the kids out into like the field and
Was like,
did
she
like
like
a
timing them.
did like a mock shackles and bedding like.
Yeah, man. Like
Wow.
I don't get all of that.
It's
man.
heinous. So it bears the question. So I don't know what I don't even know what's lacking to know how inappropriate and insensitive and racist this was, because this is at the root of it. That is a racist act. So the teacher might say, "I'm just trying to be creative." Well, it turned out you were dumb.
Right.
And so
Is it more stupid than racist?
let's not minimize
I mean, it is racist.
It's
but
racist.
How dumb is it?
this, because we know, because if
It's
you
dumb
know,
as hell.
it's
It's dumb as hell.
But
Right.
I think I think we pardon a lot of racism because maybe nobody got killed and nobody got called a nigger. You know what I mean? But it still is under this umbrella of racism, because if there was more cultural humility, if there was more cultural awareness, if there was just more compassion for Black people in America, they would know that this was wrong.
Cause I can
know.
teach
it's
my
not.
son about slavery, and not one time will we have to mock anything.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
You don't
right.
have to put no shackles on.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not gonna have you run across the field. I mean,
Yeah.
none of that.
Like about any topic. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Right.
get where
But
all of a sudden
yeah,
you just wanna
It's awful. And I think it's the question, so the question you had before is do white people have the capacity, should they or could they? What was the question about being able to teach about racism or slavery?
It was American schools struggle with teaching kids about slavery.
No, but,
No, but
but
what
after
we
that,
talking
when we were
about?
talking
Oh.
earlier, what you said, like, do you think a white person can teach?
Oh,
About
about slavery.
Yeah.
That's kind of it's a yes and no. More than I thought about it. They can teach up to a certain point, and then it's like they got to turn over the reins to somebody else because they're only given, I guess, their version of coming from their side, from a white side,
from their perspective.
from
or
their
whatever.
perspective
Yeah.
of what they know.
Yeah.
Well-
or how they see it.
Or how they see their perspective. So I think it depends on the audience. Personally,
The audience is
I think
What kind of kids? What you mean? What
well,
group
as
of
far as
kids?
teaching, I think teaching happens all at all, like if it's like a forum, like a public forum, we have a guest speaker and they're going to come talk
Right.
about racism. Do I prefer that be a Black person or a white person in front of me? Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Because I don't know that it matters, and I don't know that it has to be limited to Black or white. You know, I think it depends on what are they trying to talk about. Like, I don't want white people speaking for the Black experience, right?
Right.
However, I do think if it's a room full of white people, it might be more palatable for a white person to be delivering the message of how to correct and address the racism that's going on.
Can a Black person teach
Yes.
kids about the Jewish Holocaust?
Yes.
I mean, maybe not about like the
Yes.
discrimination or but yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think.
I mean, it's teaching.
It's
Like,
teaching.
you
It's just
should be able to
reading.
teach. Yeah, read
I think and deliver all the facts.
Right.
Do you know what
Well, I
I mean?
guess it's
It
how
should
you
be like-
deliver it then.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
all on how you deliver it.
Because I don't necessarily feel like you need to experience something firsthand to understand.
Right.
To have
Right.
compassion, to understand that, because we're a few generations removed from the physical, the structural slavery, the
Right.
chattel slavery that existed. We aren't at a
Yeah.
moment removed from
The
oppression,
discrimination. Yeah, right,
discrimination,
exactly.
and racism. But I feel like I could talk about slavery from what I've read and from what I've seen in films and just from what I understand it to be. So I think any historian who's not skipping passages could be able to deliver it. So I think it depends on the setting. So I say that
This is what teachers should do. All schools should get The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Great book. Great book. I got it on audio and I got the book.
and the reality is there are resources. There are people
Yeah.
who they do this. Like you don't have to try to come up with some creative thing. You can just
Right.
see Google, how do I teach the kids about racism? And there are professionals who can come and give it to you. Like if I wanted to teach my son about something I don't know about, I'm going to reach out to figure out what's the best way to do it or give him to somebody. If he wants to learn karate, I can't teach him, right?
Right.
I might be able to, I know Serena and Venus' father, he got a book on tennis and taught him. So I guess technically it's possible.
Right.
But I hear what you're saying. But I don't think, I guess the problem with saying white people shouldn't is putting the burden of educating everybody on black folks.
Right.
They should sit there and
For
be like,
that
okay,
topic.
we're going to talk about slavery and how it was the biggest form of capitalism in the world.
Yeah.
We're going to start right there.
I mean, and we don't. Well, see, when did they start teaching slavery? For what grade? Fourth, fifth?
know.
Like, but
Third.
at some point, it's too early to get in
Kids don't
all the
understand
way
it. Right,
in, right? You know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, the books suck anyway.
I mean, they start
Like-
talking about Martin Luther King when you're in kindergarten.
You got to remember our history is a lie in the school books and the school system.
Yeah.
And I mean, even what was going on during slavery. I mean, just sidebar. I watched Django Unchained yesterday.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? And
So
like,
that's fresh.
Yeah, that's fresh. But that's a thing that was really going on. There was black, you know what I mean? There were black bounty hunters, black cowboys. There was a lot of other things going on during that time to where, you know what I mean? Like, and we don't talk about that
Right.
at all. Like, that's not what's in the book, you know?
So that's a film you like that one.
Yeah, I like Django Unchained
What do you like about it?
because he was whooping ass. He was shooting people and
This
shit.
is Tracy is watching this right now. And she's saying, "Hell yeah,
Yeah,
I know you are.
yeah, that's
I know you are,
why.
because I know how she feels about this movie."
Yeah, that's the
Hey,
kind of movie I like. Yeah,
Do you think that teachers are uncomfortable talking about it?
Yeah,
And one reason why they don't
White-
know how to teach is because they are uncomfortable speaking
these
about it.
these
so-
these white teachers who end up in the news, I think, yes.
yeah, and they're dumb as bricks.
It's
like
stupid.
like they're uncomfortable, but they are stupid
It's
as
stupid.
all hell.
It's
like.
stupid.
That's
It's
not the
stupid.
time. Wait until math class if you want to be interactive.
And-
Listen, kids, 2 + 2 is 4. You put 2 kids over here, 2 kids over here. Not.
And it's dumb. And what makes me upset is I just believe they're capable of better.
Yeah.
And so when they're doing something dumb, I feel like it's so insensitive that it almost feels deliberate. Like, were you trying to humiliate these black children?
Yeah, right,
What
exactly.
what was the desired outcome of having them be auctioned off to their white peers? What
Right.
what were they gonna how were they gonna unpack
Having
that? When
the
they,
As
white-
if they
having-
need to feel any less. You know what I
Having-
mean?
Yeah.
Having white kids bid on black kids as a mock.
Yeah.
as
and
a-
the kids might have
Or
been
why
laughing.
didn't they
I don't-
flip it? Make the white kid because
Right.
those are the people who need to
Who need to
understand the
experience
discrimination.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom.
Right.
I mean,
Jesus,
all
I
right.
still
did
wouldn't
you
have liked
just
it,
catch
but
Yeah,
that
that's
would
what I
have
was gonna say.
been
Would it
better.
have been okay? Like,
That's,
I don't think it would have been
you know
okay
what?
necessarily.
Yeah, because
either,
it's not changing the posture because it's
Right.
still white kids in the position of power and black kids. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they're not
it's still not
feeling
okay.
anything. So it was horrible. Basically, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But when I think of, I know there are white people. What's the lady? Jane.
Jane Elliott.
Elliott.
Jane Elliott.
yeah.
So she's white and she schools people and she breaks it down and she's a hardcore ally.
Yeah.
and I
She
respect
breaks
her.
it down great.
She breaks
Yeah,
it down.
she's
So
dope.
and she's capable. And I don't know that she is any more brilliant than any other human being. She just is very aware.
But you know what?
Of white privilege,
She's not
and she
afraid to talk
studied it.
about race.
Mm-hmm.
She's not afraid to speak that, white privilege exists. She's not afraid to she's not
that's-
afraid of none of that.
And she can go talk to white people. I don't need her to teach me about it. I
Yeah.
respect her hustle and her job. I think she should be talking to white people about it, and people who benefit from white privilege because I think they could hear it better from me. And there are also plenty of black people who do that same work. And she's, and I think like other things, and this could segue in another direction, but I think anything that we do, if you find a white person who does it, they're going to become a celebrity doing it. Like Tim Wise is really popular for, are you familiar with Tim Wise? Okay, so Tim Wise is really popular for doing similar work, talking about white privilege. And so, but he's a white man. And so as much as I respect it, there are some spaces where I'd prefer they had a black person delivering it. I feel like he can talk to white people about it because I feel like they could hear it better
from
coming from somebody from the inside.
Yeah.
But as far as teachers are responsible for a really mixed population and a really sensitive population, and we're trusting them with our kids all day. And so I think it is so irresponsible and disgusting that a teacher. I'm really, the more I talk about it, the more it irks my soul that this happens. So we aren't going to end racism, but I'm glad it made the news. I don't know who let it leak or whose black mama said what.
I believe it was a grandmother. Not a grandmother.
She said, "What happened? Tell me again."
There's so many stories. I'm getting them mixed up. The grandmother one was, I believe, the North Carolina situation. So I mean, it's too many stories.
It's too many stories. So they need to get better. They need to find resources to help deal with these topics. And I think there should be penalty when they mess up. And just because something was stupid doesn't mean it was not racist.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Just because it's dumb doesn't mean it wasn't racist. Just because maybe you didn't call anybody a nigger and nobody got killed doesn't mean it wasn't racist. This is all under the racist umbrella.
It's just safe. Teach the shit out the book like you teach all the rest of it.
But get a good book. That's why I said the
miseducation on the nigger.
They already got the city mandate, whatever.
Because they downplay it. I mean, so books that were finally ready to acknowledge Sally Hemings still make it seem like she had this beautiful love affair with, who was it?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. Sally Hemings was the young black enslaved woman who ended up having a lot of children with a sitting president. And I got to Google her. I was expecting y'all to catch that up. Got to do it.
Thomas Jefferson,
yes.
I know he had a whole bunch of black kids.
Yeah.
Like 11 of them.
Sally Hemings, but they sell that story as if it was a love story, like they had some forbidden romance. She was in bondage. That could not be a mutual relationship. They romanticized it like this forbidden love. He owned her and her children. And so when they teach that, they're like, and they had it, and these are they're not telling the whole story. And so I think we can't trust the books.
That's like when they talk about this, the Civil War. They don't tell you that the Civil War was over this north and the south. The South wanting to keep slavery going. They don't tell you that. They just tell you two sides was fighting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do I? Or maybe, where do I know that from? Is that from school or is that from? I mean, I know. Remember talking about the cotton trade, the economics, whatever. I mean, but that all had to do with slavery too. Like, did I learn that in school?
Well, they needed the free labor.
Right, exactly.
They needed that. They wanted to keep it. They had to keep it going, and the oppression. They needed the layers. They needed all of this. This worked real well for rich white folks.
Yeah.
And so they found other ways to keep it going. We can talk about this all day. So I think, but since we're on racism, you want to touch on what happened in East Haven, Connecticut?
Connecticut?
What happened?
You mean when
at the grocery store?
The white lady was in the grocery store with her two daughters, and you catch the clip on Facebook from her just spazzing.
That's where it starts.
Yeah.
With her going
calling him all types of motherfuckers.
And nigger.
Then she dropped the nigger like 3 times.
Yeah.
And she worked she worked for the Board of Education in East Haven.
Worked. Past tense.
Worked. Yeah.
Used to hold the job.
They got a hold of that, and she resigned before they gave her the axe.
You know what made me about that too, and I'm glad that we're seeing it, like, because a lot of times, like, it's like, oh, nothing happens to them, like, nah, within a day, she was out of there. You know what I mean? And like, that's refreshing to see, and I want us to remember and know. You know what I mean? Like,
it's one of my favorite things that happens when I love a just dragging. I love to see blatant racist people be penalized by losing their jobs. What's fascinating is the audacity. Like when the camera is rolling, that should have signified something to her. And I feel like there's a disconnect. So people think that their white privilege is going to carry them through every single situation. But there are still plenty of organizations who do not want to be connected to your
Right.
blatant racism. They like quiet racism. Please keep your niggas to a low whisper.
Right.
Please avoid it. And it don't take but 2, 3, or 4 clicks. You know, half my friends are social media FBI. Like, oh, what's his name? Oh, got it.
Yeah, right.
You know, they're gonna find you. So basically, a white lady is going off on a black dude. I don't know what sparked the argument, but I believe they're strangers in a grocery store. And now what we see, the camera cuts into her going off. She's yelling. She's there with her children. They're young. How old are her children about?
They look like they were maybe like 9 and maybe 5.
Yeah,
So they're little
young.
kids, elementary school age kids. So the white woman is in the store with her kids, gets into an argument with a black man. Was it a couple or with the man?
I think it was a couple. There was someone else with. It was a man and a woman. I don't know if there was a couple.
And she's
or
saying,
not.
"Don't talk to me like that."
Yeah, she said you need to sit down.
Right, don't talk to me in front of my kids
Yeah.
like that. But then she turns around and says, "Motherfucker,"
hit him with
a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
And
And then they hear her say "nigger."
Yeah.
nigger.
Yeah.
And so
Now you don't think they have 1,000 questions when they get home?
Yeah. Well, the kids.
well, they know mommy says nigger. They already know that. If she said that so freely out in public,
I know, out in public,
when
right?
she is in the
Yeah,
safety
yeah,
of
right,
her
yeah.
own quiet home, their nigger is popping out of her mouth. That
Yo.
came out too easily.
It looked like either a dude was with her or a dude was like, I don't want to say on her
That's
side.
what I'm trying to figure out.
You know
Was
what I
he
mean?
with her or was he just trying
what?
to
He just
de-escalate
kinda-
the issue?
Yeah. But yo, when he heard that, he turned his
he said,
ass
"Don't
around
say that."
like, whoa.
I was with you, lady.
You might have, you just took this from an
Right.
argument to
So-
something different.
To me, nigger is the equivalent of a slap, spitting someone, or punching them. It's a threat.
She
it is
spit
violent.
too,
she spit too.
actually. Yeah.
Nasty.
She spit a
Yeah,
couple
she spit,
times too.
Yeah, she did. spit.
Vile, nasty one. Who man's is this? Who
Yeah.
who are her people? What is her? I don't really care about her. What is frustrating is, and so how did the man respond? Tell me how he responded. How did the person?
I
think he did well, man.
Yeah, he remained calm. He didn't.
Yep, I think he did. All right.
He didn't raise his level of aggression.
Yeah.
He just kept talking to her calm, and she just.
Yeah.
It was like she was getting angrier because he wouldn't speak
Because
to
he
her
wouldn't-
level.
he wouldn't
give her
exactly.
what she wanted.
And that's all. Like, I feel like she was much more upset than he. Whatever the issue started from, she was much more upset than he was, and I think that she was trying to make him as upset as she was. You know what I mean? And get
Did you
him
see
to
at
fly
one
off
point
the handle.
she wanted him.
He
to
was there
hit
with
her.
a woman. Was his
Right.
woman? Was the black woman there with him or just recording it?
So there were 2 recordings.
Yeah, I see it,
One was not with them, and I think that there was one that it was either him or her or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But another person just watching was recording it too, and like I heard her and she was like, "Don't do it." She
Yeah.
heard him say
Yeah,
that or whatever.
yeah,
She heard him say
yeah.
nigga. She was like, "Don't,
Don't
do
do
it.
it, yeah.
Don't do it."
Don't do it.
Like
And when she said nigger, and
Yeah.
the dude that was there in the middle, he kind of was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, damn!
like
You done messed up
yeah,
now."
they about to tear this shit up.
Yep.
I'm glad. I think his name was Earl. Why do I think his name
I don't
was
know,
Earl?
but
man?
there
That's a
was.
black ass
to
name.
Earl,
If you
man.
watch the video, there was a lady who took her daughters and pulled them to the side. That's
Yeah.
the part. Everyone, that was. I thought that was very.
I mean, it's necessary.
Like pulled them out off
like
the
they
camera.
see. Yeah, well, she pulled them to the side. They're out of the view of the camera, and I guess out of the view of what
Was it a black
their mother
woman?
was saying. I couldn't tell if she was Spanish or white.
We always trying to.
I
save
mean, it was
somebody's
a whole
children.
nother place. You know what I mean?
And, you know, children aside,
Yeah.
but if this is their mother, then they're getting it on it. They're gonna. They already saw it, so maybe the world's not exposed to the kids, but
And racism is a taught behavior.
it's a top behavior. I think what frustrated me when we just said when you guys were like he did well, and I'm like, man, I hate that we have to do well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like somebody's going off.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, we talked about this last time that it is on us.
Yeah.
Because if we don't,
not
we'll be looked at as
respond.
the
Yeah.
the aggressor.
I mean,
I
as
gotta
long as
tell
he
you.
didn't like, because listen, had
Too
that
close.
been me, there would have been all kind of bitches and
Oh, yeah.
like every other possible thing. Like she's
Let's
trying
talk
to
about
yell, I'd have been doing a lot more yelling than her. But she, like, by the time she'd
Would've
have called me
been
nigger, it would have like that would have been like, haha, bitch. Now I really got you.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like,
And I wonder if she would have went that
it's a
hard with
trigger
a black
word.
woman. You know,
I don't know. I think a
because
sister.
a woman might have been
I was
like.
about to say. I think a sister would have
A
tightened
woman
her
like,
up real
yeah,
good.
just with words or
Yeah,
fists,
right,
however
right,
we want to
right,
do it,
right,
honey.
right,
Because
right.
that's a viable threat, and I think a white woman basically she's threatening you. If a white woman is calling a black man a nigger, she is threatening him and daring him at the same time. Because I
Right.
feel like
Oh, you
nigger
saw she
is a
dared him.
threatening word.
Yeah.
She's like, hit me.
Yeah,
Right. So I think, you know, I'm glad she lost her job.
Beautiful,
I'm
beautiful
glad
thing.
he didn't lose anything.
Right, that's
glad
what
he
I'm
didn't
at.
lose
Right, I'm
anything.
glad that he didn't lose anything. I'm glad that he didn't go to jail for
glad he didn't go to
assault
jail,
or,
right.
or whatever the case is.
Because
You
the
know what I
other
mean?
thing is, a white person calling you a nigger in the grocery store, like, I could understand the desire to want to do her bodily harm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
Like
strategy, though.
wanting her to close her mouth.
That is strategy.
Yeah.
Like how, like so we were talking about before. Like I don't know. Like I personally don't want to let someone have that go card on me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where they instantly say nigga and I just lose it. I don't have any. You know what I mean? Like,
But I also like the idea of letting them know that the fire is hot.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
touch it?
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Like you can do.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
white people, feel free to say nigger.
Yeah.
With wild
She was
abandon, you can
strategic
do
with
it.
She
Just
was saying
understand.
niggas because she wanted him to
Yeah.
do
Well,
something.
I kind of wish that I wish that there should be so she felt it. She lost her job. She
Yeah.
was nigger. She lost her job. If she hadn't said nigger, she might still be gainfully employed. Because all she was doing was just having an
it
argument.
was
yeah,
just
it was
an
just,
People might
argument.
have just
just,
wondered.
just an ugly
Right.
argument.
Yeah, it was an argument.
Right, it's a hateful
Yeah.
argument. But I think people should know there should be a solid, there should be a penalty for using
But
it.
for her to resign so fast,
She knew.
she must have had a friend on the board who said,
You
it
got to
ain't,
go.
right, it ain't
Nothing
looking
for
good.
you.
Yeah.
You might as well call it quit now
Yeah.
so you don't get fired.
Yeah, right.
That way you can go collect.
Yeah, right, or whatever the
Can you collect
advantages
if you
are
quit?
of resigning. I think you got to be fired.
I think you got to be fired to
quick.
collect.
But she
But if
might
you're
have
fired,
been-
you might be. Because if she just lays low, dyes her hair, changes her name, she can go get a job.
Yeah, right,
I wouldn't
exactly.
recognize her on the
Yeah,
street
right,
today.
right. Not at
She'll be
all.
fine.
Not
Shut
at
down
all.
your social media
Yeah,
for
she
about
will.
2 years.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah, because this is gonna go viral this is gonna be out there for
Yeah,
a
it's
minute.
gonna be out
a
there.
minute.
I wonder if somebody's already on this. I wish there were a person who tracks these white people who do these public offenses and don't ever let it leave.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what's-
yeah, yeah.
it's like,
yeah.
I tracked Miss
Do like a
Ann.
website.
She's going by Miss Kelly now.
Right.
Right, yeah, right.
She live in
right.
Arkansas. She trying to be a police officer.
Yeah,
Y'all,
right,
here's a
right,
picture.
right,
That's
right.
her zip code. I just want to let you know this is the nigga lady from the grocery store in Connecticut.
nigga lady.
Yeah, nigga. Like, don't ever let it go. Like, forever. So that's great. I'm glad we can laugh about it. I'm
Yeah.
glad there was, her loss feels like a W for us.
Yeah.
It's really a shame. I have no idea how that argument started, but it really is a shame.
I gotta think. What pissed you off in the grocery store, man?
That's what I'm like, what
You
can
grab
a
my
stranger...
carriage or something? Like,
I mean, you tap the back of my
I
ankle.
was just about to say
Yeah,
that.
like,
She
what
tapped
happened?
them
I might
ankles
have
with that
some
cart.
trouble.
Yeah.
That might get you hit though. That's not even.
Yeah.
That's beyond nigga. That's get you hit.
I don't know. That'd be a roll eyes and a teeth suck
Yeah.
unless it was a child.
Yeah.
And I still might give them a cut look.
Like, yo, man, watch out.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got next?
Yeah.
We want to talk about Dr. Angelou. Do you want to introduce that one?
Miss Maya.
Oh.
Miss Angelou.
Yeah, right. Yeah, miss. Yeah, you should definitely do that, right? So, online, old clip resurfaced of Maya Angelou on a talk show. It looked like she was on like Sally. Was that Sally Jesse?
It
What
looks
was it?
It was some white
Yeah,
lady.
it was
Some
something
white lady.
like
It wasn't
that.
Sally Jesse, but
Yeah.
it was like that format.
Yeah, right. Like,
Like
it
that
looked
hazy screen.
Yeah. And a much younger girl got up to ask her a question.
Black girl.
A black girl, yeah, got up to ask her a question. And she started the question off with Maya, blah, 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 whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then before Miss Angelou answered the question, Dr.
Angelou, that's all
Angelou, right, answered the question, she kind of like put her in her place and told her like, with my age, with my experience, like I've earned the respect for you to call me Miss Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the conversation about it ended up being like whether or not
It's a
millennials have the a respect or was she wrong for correcting her before she
I don't know.
answered
She
the
wasn't wrong for
question?
correcting that.
I think it's like I think that is kind of like it's stupid with things that start conversations or whatever, but it's like much to do about nothing. Like at times where you like because they already try to say that we're soft or whatever, the generation or
Millennials.
whatever. Yeah, like that was like some pussyfied shit. You know what I mean? Like
Which part?
the getting upset that at an old clip, mind you, that an
people-
older woman.
So people
okay,
taking the
yeah,
angle
yeah.
of so for
That she was rude. Like she
Right.
wasn't rude.
and so this is where so the thing about rude and appropriate and respect, like these are all words we all know what they mean, but it looks different depending on your perspective,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure this young girl did not feel like she was being disrespectful.
Right.
But she was corrected. So I think the one thing that we need to understand, and I think it helps if you get a chance to bounce around between different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know when I'm in church, I ain't calling nobody who could be my mother or my grandmother's
Right,
age
by their
by
first
their
name.
first
nobody.
name.
Yeah, right,
I'm
right,
absolutely
right.
not. I think everybody in there has permission to pop me, and I'm a good 42 years old right now. And
Yeah.
so even today, I'm still not doing it. However, when I first entered the workforce, that was an odd transition for me because I'm meeting people who are 20, 30 years older than me, and I'm addressing them as Carol and Diane, and that was really an adjustment.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that I don't know if it comes with age or experience, is understand when you need to put a handle on it.
Right,
Right?
right.
Because sometimes you do, and sometimes it might not be required.
Right.
Ain't no way in the world, because Maya Angelou was good and famous and significant
Yeah,
at the time
At
of
that point, right.
Ain't no way in the world I would have called her Maya. I would not have.
Hell
At 14.
Yeah,
Hell
I tried
no.
to put myself.
I
in
wouldn't
the
call her
thing,
Maya
like,
right now.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think I
no,
would-
no,
yeah.
no, not even right now. No. And if anything, I would have said, if talking about her, I would say Maya
probably called her
Angelou.
auntie or something.
I might have.
You know what I mean?
I don't know,
Like,
Auntie, Mother,
yeah, like,
Mother
I think that it
Angelou,
Well, you know,
Dr.
in-
Angelou.
in black households,
Auntie Angela.
titles are important.
yeah.
Yeah.
You just
put
ain't gonna be
handle on it.
calling your uncle by his first name,
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
aunt
yeah.
by her. No, that's not
Or
allowed.
Yo.
even my friends, we put an auntie on it
Yeah.
unless the friend doesn't require that.
Yeah.
Like we put,
Yeah.
well, you're not. There's deference. There is, and that is how we have determined respect. We know other cultures don't require that
Yeah,
formality,
right.
and so that young girl probably comes up in a different world. But
Right.
the way my Dr. Angelou delivered, like, listen, what you're not gonna do
Yeah.
is call me by my first name like you're as grown as me. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
I have earned respect. And I also feel like to me, like if this had been, sometimes I feel like white people do this and it's like a way of being too familiar. So the girl was black. So I
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes
Yeah.
it's like when you see a young white person calling an older black person by their first name, it's reminiscent of a time when older black women were not allowed to be greeted with title. And so this woman is, I just think she was not, my answer was not wrong.
I
to
wonder
tell.
how she was being addressed at any point before that, though, on the show.
Was anyone else
You know
calling
what I
her
mean?
Maya?
Like, because, okay, now, if it was Sally Jesse, whatever, when they introduced her, if she was not a doctor, I don't know how long she's had her doctorate, but at that point, like, did they say
Miss Maya
Miss
Angelou.
Maya Angelou? Did they say today in the studio we have Maya Angelou? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
They might have, and perhaps.
And I mean, like the host was a lot older too, so maybe she would have taken that from her versus taking that from a kid. Like, I don't know.
I think the whole thing about the story is just younger people putting titles on names.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, it was a old clip, and I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
Like, why did this even
why are you
come up?
digging
Like,
up these old ass clips, man, and then finding that kind of fault with it? It's
Yeah.
like weird. And you know what? Let's just say this. Fuck it. What if she was rude? So what? Like, at that point, at 60 years old, to get her point across, I didn't need her to say that nicely. Like, yo, my auntie, even in just playing around, if I call my
Who you
aunt
talking
by
to?
her first
Right.
name,
Is
right? My aunt would be like, you better put some auntie on that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need no,
We'll never be
I
that
didn't need
grown.
no soft answer or whatever. No,
Right.
Chris, what you need to understand is you need to, no, she told me I better put some auntie on
No,
that
Yeah.
she
shit.
delivered that with pros
Yeah,
and
like that's how
poise.
she said, and that's my least swearing auntie.
Right. Right. Well,
Like,
I
of
loved
all
it.
aunties,
She said, "You
like-
do not have the license." I said, "Come on."
Yeah,
but I'm like Lynette said, at my age right now, like my mother's friends and people older than me, Miss, or you know,
yeah,
Miss this or Mr. that. Like, I just, what's up, Joe?
yeah. Right,
Yeah.
right,
Like,
right.
you know, we just don't do that. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
they
Yeah,
look you up
right.
and down like you short.
Yeah,
Like,
right,
who the hell you
right.
talking to?
Even my cousins, like their children, I see them addressing me like it's auntie. Like I'm not technically their aunt, but I'm
Yeah.
just way too old to. You got to put a him. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
grown, and so I think it's cultural. So we know this is not going to look the same in every environment. But it's to me, it's understanding which environment you're going into.
In the black
if I'm
culture,
going into a Muslim
there's
community,
a name.
I'm covering my head. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I'm addressing a older black woman, an elder in a church, I'm calling her mother, auntie, miss, something. I'm putting that on top of it because I'm aware of I have shifted into this area.
Like imagine,
maybe at work I'm gonna call them by the first name.
You know, you go meet a guy or whatever. You go meet his mother, and you know, this is my mother, Miss Thing. Her
I'm
name.
calling her Ma any damn way.
Right. You like, hey Sylvia.
Right.
She be like, you better get that, girl out of here.
I'm like, where you get this old?
Right.
Yeah,
Where you get her from?
Right.
But she might pull you aside.
Right.
Yeah.
Come here,
So
sweetheart. Let me talk to you for a minute.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know where you
you
from.
Damn respect.
I know how they do it. Where you're from.
Right.
But also,
That's
and some
funny.
people do the other. And people let you know how they wish to be addressed.
Yeah.
Because my dad would definitely say, "Call me Al."
Right. And that's
that's
and
what
that's
he would
cool.
do.
And then I'll be like, hey, Mr. Al. just by habit,
Right,
though.
right.
I wouldn't be comfortable calling him by his first name.
Yeah. That's funny.
Right. So I think I thought it was a great conversation, but I think it's what does respect look like? So I don't think the young girl's intentions were to be disrespectful.
Nah.
She was probably very excited to be able to have a personal exchange with her.
Right.
And I think she received the correction.
Yeah.
Like, I think we also have to be in a place where we can be receptive to someone saying that wasn't cool.
That wasn't right.
Right?
Exactly.
And so that was very black mother of her. Like black mothers will correct anybody's child.
Yes, they
White,
will.
They were like, "Oh, you a baby? You black? You in here? You mine today? If you
Yeah,
are within,
right.
if you're within it, then I am
Yep.
involved in your rearing.
Yeah.
And so I am interested enough to let you know you ain't gonna be running through this house. If I pop her, I'll pop you, and you're going to address me the way children address adults here.
Yeah.
And that's
The
it. And I
rules
love
have
you.
been set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know the
Yeah.
house rules.
And that should just be that. I just don't. Then I like to even see the conversation happen. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, I mean, I think things are changing though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not everyone's growing up with shit. It's grandmas. It's
Right.
38-year-old grandmas that aren't even looking for that level of respect.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe
Or,
they don't
like,
want that distinction. They want to feel
distinction.
younger.
Right, exactly. So like some stuff is also changing too or whatever. And I mean, but you should think about that too when you're looking at something from 20 or 30 years ago. Like
True.
20 or 30 years ago that was absolutely relevant. Maybe
Right.
now you're like, oh, but I don't know. That was corny.
It was.
I want to watch the whole joint just because I want to see more of Miss Maya Angelou.
I wonder which show that was.
I think it was
find
Sally
it.
Jesse.
I don't think it was Sally. Y'all think all these white ladies look alike. It's not Sally Jesse.
I thought it was
White
Sally
woman.
Jesse too.
You thought-
I gotta go back and look.
But it'd be
again.
funny if it really was. I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all. It was actually
Right?
Sally
You
Jesse.
accusing me of...
She had red glasses. I didn't know what to do.
Right,
It might have been because Sally Jesse was a regular in the black household.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody watched Sally
Yeah.
Jesse Raphael.
Phil Donahue. That was before Oprah
Yep,
took
Phil
over.
Donahue.
And none of it
Donahue.
mattered. None of it mattered.
Remember though.
Well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
This is episode 10.
10.
Thank you for tuning in.
Hey,
Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. Talk back to us.
rate, review, Apple. Come on. Just take 2 seconds to go on there and hit 5 stars and say they have a dynamic show.
Dynamic. We like words like
That's
that.
all right. Yeah, I like
Get
it.
a thesaurus. You need to find more wonderful words
Words
to say.
that go
Awesome,
with that.
tremendous, wonderful, world changing. Did we solve the
Tubular,
problem?
dude.
Tubular. What?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Straight out of '83. So, just white people say that today.
Tubular.
Tubular.
No, man.
Have you heard that word since 1983? Anybody
I don't
else?
know, man.
Probably not.
God damn.
So,
Listen on Apple.
did we solve the problems of the world?
Nah, man.
We touched on it.
We
and
tried again.
We
man.
unpacked the package just a little
We
bit.
tried for the 10th time.
We ain't giving up though.
We ain't
We'll
going.
be
It
back
ain't
next
over.
week.
We'll be back for 11. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.